Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to day 18 of Better You in 30 Days series. And today I want to share with you one of the most debated, most explained, and personally for me, one of the most beautiful verses in the Quran. This verse is the foundation of our worldview. Like, this verse should be the main stepping stone or the lens with which we see the world. So in this video, we are going to focus on 7 beautiful things about this verse, followed by one mini action point which we can add or implement in our life so that it really changes our perspective and our worldview and the way we think and perceive this life. So let's dive right in. This verse is also called as Ayat Noor, and it is 24:35, so chapter 24, verse 35, and it goes like, Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. The first beautiful thing that I've found about this verse is Noor. Noor is also the word which is used for vision. So basically, Allahu Noor is Allah is the light within the eyes. Like, if you keep Allah as the lens, then you really see the reality of the heavens and the earth. It's just so beautiful that the word choice is Noor, and Noor is actually the light within the eyes. Even though your eye can be perfectly functioning, but if you do not have that light within the eye, it doesn't allow you to see things for what they are. So this I thought was so beautiful because, for example, we look at a tree, but there is a person who is the master or who has studied the trees, or he's a biologist. So the way he sees the tree and the way I see a tree is not going to be the same. In the same way, the person who has this lens of Allah, the person who understands and knows Allah, sees the world for its reality in a way that no one else does. Moving on, Allah explains what exactly is this Noor. So he says, His light is like a niche in which there is a lamp. So, a niche used to be a type of construction back in the early days. So, this is kind of like a shelf or a hole in the wall. So, basically, the purpose of this hole in the wall, and then you place a lamp in it, is that it allows, if there is a huge room, it allows the room to be illuminated. So, the scholars say that this shelf or an archway and the wall is kind of like our rib cage. The shape is very, very similar. So it might mean, and this is what the scholars say, not something that I'm saying, that it resembles the rib cage of a human. And inside this shelf, and this is the third thing, there is a lamp. And the lamp, the scholars believe that Allah mentions that this lamp is actually the heart of a believer or the heart of a human. Then Allah explains that the lamp is in a crystal, and the crystal is like a shining star. So basically, there is a ribcage, then inside it is the heart, and the heart, what now, think about it first in terms of like the physical world, and then we will look at the metaphorical meaning. So there is a crevice in the wall. Inside the crevice, there is a lamp, and the lamp is covered in the mirrors. So if you think about it, the mirrors will be able to reflect light if the mirror is clear. If the mirror is dirty or has some faults or has some mud on it, it will not be able to reflect the light, which, even though it might be shining brightly, but if the mirror is dirty, if the mirror is muddy, it will not be able to reflect light. In the same way, when we look at a human being, the heart is in the same way for a human being, the heart is encapsulated in a rib cage, but sometimes the heart is covered by layers of disbelief, the layers of sinning consistently and disobeying Allah Ta'ala, layers of doubt, layers of love for this dunya. And then when these layers encapsulate the heart, it is kind of like the mirror is dirty, and it does not allow us to light up. It does not allow us to reflect the light. But the example is not done yet, so let's first understand it completely. Then Allah goes on to explain, the lamp is in a crystal. The crystal is like a shining star, lit from the oil of a blessed olive tree located neither to the east nor to the west. Basically, what it means is this olive tree is very central. So during the times of the Arab or the people who grow olive trees, they know that the best olive tree is when it receives the sunlight from the sunrise to the dusk. So if it is not sharqi or not gharabi, if it is not facing towards the east, not facing towards the west, it means it gets very wholesome light, and this allows it to grow properly, and the oil of this olive tree is very, very pure. The scholars understand that this Allah is referring to is Quran and the revelation. So the hidayah which Allah has sent, so the guidance is super balanced and super pure, whose oil would almost glow even without being touched by the fire. So, because of the purity of this, it is willing, even if the fire doesn't touch it, it runs to the fire. It is actually like, is so ready to light up. The most beautiful thing about this is here Allah uses the word yudi, and the word yudi has some burning in it. But for Himself, Allah uses the word Noor, or the light, which doesn't have any burning in it. So it kind of shows that as humans, we have this tendency that even in things, there is some element of getting hurt, there is some element of burning or getting the scars. So then Allah says, light upon light. So the light in the heart of the believer, because it is not, there is no hijab or there is no barrier because of any impurity or any sin, this light, when it matches with the light of the revelation, then that is light upon light. And then Allah says, Allah guides whoever He wills to His light. Now there are two conditions here. One is Allah guides whoever He wants, but then the second thing is Allah will not guide us until we want. So there are two conditions which have to be met if we want this light. And then Allah says, and Allah sets forth parables for humanity, for Allah has perfect knowledge of things. Like, this is just so beautiful the more we think about it. So basically, Allah is the light which allows us to see the reality of the heaven and the earth. But this light is basically not going to benefit us if we do not have the light in the heart. So the manifestation of this light is literally in the heart of a believer. And if there is any blockage or barrier in the form of sin or doubt or in the form of love with this dunya, we are not going to be able to get closer to Allah. And then this light is further increased by the light of revelation, by the light of the Quran. And then Allah guides to His light, to His guidance, to Him, whoever He wants. So basically, light inside and light outside is the way to go. I honestly feel I tried to explain it as much as a student can. I'm more fascinated by it, and maybe I was not able to explain it as properly. So I'm going to share the three sources from which I learned this, and the scholars explain it so beautifully, and I believe I could not do any justice to this, but I just wanted to share it with you because I think it's just so beautiful. I feel like this verse also ties very seamlessly with other parts of the Quran. So when Allah says that it's not the eyes which are blind, it is the heart. So the root of love for Allah, or the root of deception or love for this dunya, is in the heart. So it's basically all here. And then when Allah mentions Hazrat Ibrahim, He also says that he had Qalbi Salim. a heart which is very pure, it is free from impurities. And then Allah uses the same word in another instance in which he says that on the judgment day, no money or no children will benefit anyone except the person, like the only thing which will benefit the person is the thing that he brought from this dunya, which is Qalbi Salim, which is the pure heart. So I don't know, I just thought, in this world where we are so much deceived by appearances, where we look at the outer coverings, Allah shows that He basically looks at the heart, and the way to Allah is from the heart. It is not from these outward acts, it all starts from here. So, the mini action point that I have for myself and for you, it is to this Ramadan. Yes, we are trying to do so many things. Yes, we are trying our best to do those outwardly actions. But this Ramadan, let's try to focus on our heart. Let's look at the state of the heart and see, do we feel connected? Do we feel the presence of Allah in our day to day? Are we talking to Him in our small instances of? So the mini action point is looking and reflecting at the state of our heart, because at the end of the day, that is the only foundation for light upon light. That is all for today, and I will see you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum.